To our colleague, Channel 2's Jacob Rascone, just arriving there at the scene outside of the facility. Jacob, what can you tell us?
Yeah, hey there, guys. They call this the Baytown olefins plant. I'm told by a couple of contractors who were just here watching what was going on. And we're told that the fire teams that are here belonging to the Exxon plant area are responding, and they're all volunteers. They've got 200 people who regularly train for this kind of thing to happen. And they're, of course, going to be responding. Sky 2, I'm sure, has pictures of some of that happening. And sometimes they, of course, coordinate, too, with the city and the county for additional resources. But as far as we know, we don't know what other resources are responding. Only that, according to Exxon, their own fire teams are responding now to try to control this. So in addition, what Exxon says, in addition to their fire teams working, they're doing, as you guys have been saying, a head count, which suggests, at least at the time they put that out, that they had not yet accounted for everybody. It's probably routine, of course, for them to go through and make sure every single person is accounted for. Of course, as you've been mentioning, 7,000 people total work throughout the complex, but this is just a very small portion, a portion that makes the polypropylene, as you guys have mentioned. And again, they call it the Baytown olefins plant. We don't know how many employees work immediately around this stack that's still on fire, but we know that they're still doing, or at least as of 20 minutes ago, a head count to make sure that all of the employees that worked anywhere nearby were accounted for. In addition, they're conducting air quality. As you've mentioned, we saw that at ITC. They have their own air quality monitors. They do a lot of training for this kind of thing to make sure that in the case of this kind of an emergency, they have their air quality in place, monitors in place. They have their fire teams that are responding immediately that have been training for this kind of thing. In addition, they're cooperating with regulatory agencies, Exxon says, which, of course, you've got a lot of federal, state agencies, just like we had in the ITC fire, who are watching this very closely and, of course, will be working together with Exxon to make sure that they're doing their air quality monitoring, that their fire teams are responding, and that county personnel and others are ready to assist. And, of course, we've seen the tweets from the judge. We've seen the tweets from the sheriff that they are monitoring and ready to respond if needed. So you guys have mentioned a 3,400-acre complex. This is just a very small portion of that. And then an area west of here, we're just north of the plant. Areas west of the plant are told to shelter in place. And you guys have repeated it, but it's worth repeating again. Tightly close all of your doors and windows. Turn off your AC, heaters, and fans. Of course, any students that are in school are recommended that they stay indoors and that parents do not go and pick them up unless the school actually tells you to do that. So far, I've only seen Goose Creek ISD, 6 different schools that are within that area that are following that shelter in place. And then it's recommended, according to the shelter in place recommendations on Exxon's site, that if you're at work, that you stay indoors. But of course, depending on your employer, that may change. So as we arrived, all we saw were police blocking off a couple of roads here. So this is as close as we've been able to get. We immediately pulled over and parked, only talked to a couple of contractors over there. But that's just what we're seeing as we arrive here just a few minutes ago.